All right, Dad, the alarm bells, they are ringing, and that is because the subprime auto lending space, it is not in a good state. One of the largest auto lenders in the United States of America for subprime borrowers, they just increased, we got this in their latest quarterly earnings, they just increased their loan loss provision, which means the amount of money they no longer expect to actually make from loans that they wrote in the past for auto loans, up to more than $250 million, the highest number we've seen from them ever, Dad. It is insane what's going on. We're going to talk about that, auto loan delinquencies, upside down trade-ins, and why it is harder now today than ever before to get approved for an auto loan. Let's start here. What do you make of the fact that Credit Acceptance Corporation is increasing their loan loss provisions like crazy, Pops?
I guess they realize the people they lend money to aren't real good at paying it back. And they have seen dramatic increases in the number of customers that they have that are past due, that are absolutely delinquent, and that they now realize that it's a much higher percentage than what they had anticipated, and so they have to increase reserves for those loans that will probably, in effect, never get paid for.
All right, I'm going to read this verbatim, Dad. It says an increase in provision for credit losses of 63.1%, $221.4 million, all the way up to $251.8 million in forecast changes as a result of loans not coming due. And this is primarily driven, Dad, by a, quote, greater decline in consumer loan performance during the first 9 months of 2023 compared to the first 9 months of 2022. During the first 9 months of 2023, we decreased our estimate of future net cash flows by $150 million, or 1.7%, to reflect a decline in forecasted collection rates during the period and slowed our forecasted net cash flow timing to reflect a decrease in consumer loan prepayments. Pops, no matter how you slice and dice this data, these are the big wigs at these corporations saying, oh crap, we lent out a bunch of money when money was everywhere for consumers on loan-to-value ratios that might not have made a lot of sense. And surprise, surprise, now they're not paying them. And if I may,
Yes.
go for it.
Yeah, and you may go right ahead. Continue, please.
When you start to look at the negative equity situation for a lot of consumers, like how upside down they are on their trade-in, it starts to make sense why they might stop paying for their auto loan. Here is an example, Dad. This is a car deal. We were helping a consumer out back at CarEdge.com. Upside down $6,839 on their trade-in. If you're faced with this, which a lot of consumers are right now, and I've got a second example in just a moment, no wonder you might stop paying your auto loan because you just realize the car's not worth what you have the loan for it.
And you know what's really staggering is when you look at what you're just showing, it shows a trade allowance of $41,000, a payoff of $47,839, but the trade actual cash value is only $29,000. There's a $12,000 discount built into that trade allowance. That's staggering. And yet, even with a $12,000 over allowance, there's still $6,800 upside down.
Break that down, like layman speak for that, Dad, because there's a lot on the screen here, but let's break it down because that is shocking what you just identified.
What? It's right there. $29,000 trade ACV. ACV stands for actual cash value. That's the real, honest to God value of that vehicle. The customer still owes $47,800. I'm not real good at math, but what's that, close to $17,000, $18,000 of negative equity. And rather than share with the customer what the real value of his trade is, because you don't want to make him feel that bad, so you over allow on the trade, you show $41,000, which means, in essence, they could have taken $12,000 off of the price of the vehicle and made it $53,000 and showed him $29,000 for his trade. All the numbers would have worked out to be the same, but he would have seen exactly how upside down he really, really is. Yeah, no wonder people are thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't be making my payments any longer.
Yeah, exactly. Here's another example that trade actual cash value matches what they're actually allowing for. So what the dealership is paying for the trade in this instance.
Yes.
However, the payoff is $13,600 and the ACV and the allowance are both $4,000. That's $9,600 upside down on a $4,000 car. That means it's more than three times the actual cash value is the loan balance right now. Again, it ties back to, so if you're one of those people that were, fortunate, I'll say fortunate to get approved for an auto loan 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it was high loan to value ratios. Pretty much anything was getting approved. And now you're looking at, I might have overpaid for that new car, or I might have overpaid for that used car. I didn't realize that I had bundled into my auto loan a vehicle service contract and tire protection and this and that and this and that. And the next thing you know, you go to get out of that vehicle because you want a new car payment, you want something new and shiny. $9,600 upside down on a $4,000 car, man. That's not sustainable.
Well, it's not, and that adds what, $300 to your monthly payment right there, perhaps. So that's crazy. That's just crazy. And I don't know, why the trade's only worth $4,000 and they still owe $13,600. Maybe the vehicle's been in 2 or 3 or 4 accidents. Maybe it still needs body work done. Maybe it's got a blown engine. I don't know. But this does not bode well when we see numbers like this for people who want to get out of a vehicle and ultimately will figure out that they can't, and maybe they can. Ultimately, what they need to figure out is that they shouldn't. Because it's only going to exacerbate an already bad situation if they do.
Yeah, exactly. And then to compound it, Pops, the auto loan application rejection rate has hit an all-time high. This data comes from the New York Fed. We have never seen auto loan applications rejected at a higher level than we are today. The most recent data we have from June shows that 1 in 6, 1 in 7, 14%.
Yeah.
Of auto loans are being rejected right now. So, look at the landscape of auto finance, and it's a lot of oopsies that happen, and now a lot of, oh crap, we need to fix this. I'm pretty sure that's not how financial markets work. You can't just say, oopsies, let's just stop lending now. Oopsies, we over-allowed for trades in the past. Oopsies, we didn't really abide by loan to value, guidelines. But it seems like that's what's happening. That's what we see with the loan loss provisions, the upside down trade-ins, and obviously with the rejection rates here.
Well, apparently you really can say oopsies, and they are, and many lenders are, and many lenders are adjusting how much they've put aside for loans that they think are going to go bad. Maybe, just maybe, they'll be a little more particular about what it is that they approve moving forward so that they can have less delinquencies in their portfolios.
Yeah, we'll be watching this between now and next year, 2 years from now. I think the ripple effects from what's going on in the auto finance markets will be severe. And all of the things that we looked at today are just indicators of what's happening underneath our feet right now. The ground's shaking a little bit, man. Like, things are not as stable as they were pre-pandemic. Like, it is a different market right now. And this is good information for anyone who either has a car, thinking about getting a car. Good information for you to be aware of. It is kind of shaky footing right now out there.
And it's a different market because interest rates are higher than they've been in 20 years or so. Overall costs for cars are higher than they've been ever. Between maintenance, insurance, the selling price of the vehicles, it's making it harder and harder for people to be able to afford those cars that they think they might want to buy.